This is Mustafa Sobi. Welcome to Sobi IT. Today we'll be going over how to install Python for macOS. So before we get started, some prereqs. Definitely going to need brew installed and the Xcode command line tools. If you've ever done anything with the terminal before in macOS, you definitely have these installed already, but just double check that you do. Some optional tools that are useful: Subble, Fig, and iTerm. Not required by any means, but I'll be using them in this video. These are the steps that we're going to be going through. So we'll begin with installing pyenv using brew, Python 3 using pyenv, and then some other versions of Python. This is an optional part, such as Python 2.7.18, which is the last version of Python 2, or other versions of Python 3. Then we're going to set the Python versions to path so our computer actually knows where they're located. And also we're going to set some aliases, refresh our environment, and finally test to make sure it works. So I'm going over here to my macOS VM. Just ignore that Subble window I have open for now. And I open my iTerm window or just any terminal. And we're going to start with brew, install pyenv. Okay? Just like that. Just go ahead and let that run. Alright, now that we've got pyenv installed, we can call it and say install version 3.10.6. So if you go to Python's website, actually, you'll see that 3.10.6 is the latest as of the recording of this video. But if you go to the main website, you want to make sure that you're getting the latest. So go ahead and make sure that the latest version is still 3.10.6.
Give that a second there.
Alright, and Python 3.10.6 was successfully installed at this location. Okay, so now you would think now we can call Python 3.10.6 and have it work, but it does not. You would think if we call Python 3 maybe, it would use Python 3.10.6, but it does not. Actually uses the 3.8.9, which is the default install with Xcode command line tools and just the Xcode SDK in general. So let's exit this. The reason for that is because we did not set it in our zshrc file. Now your zshrc file may look more empty than mine does. It's just because I have all my zish installed and some other things from the past. So to get to your .zshrc file, you can do, I have Sublime Text installed, so I do subble and then home directory .zshrc. But assuming you don't have Subble installed, you can just open it from any finder by going to your home directory. So if that doesn't show up, you can just press Command, comma, and then in the sidebar, check the home directory, go over to the home directory, and then when you're in the home directory, press Shift, Command, and dot at the same time, and that will show all hidden files. So you'll see the zshrc files right here and a lot of other hidden files. So you can open up the zshrc and you can edit that with text edit. And I'm just going to do that with the Subble over here. So I have over here the couple of things that we need to add. So for one, we'll be needing to add an alias for Python to equal Python 3, so that anytime Python is used, it'll automatically route to Python 3. And also this over here is the Python, adding Python 3 to the path. So let's add those two over here. Alright, and you'll see the path that I've given it is the same as this one over here. So users Mustafa Sobi, that represents the home environment variable here. And then pyenv versions 3.10.6, and we're pointing at the bin folder, so it actually sees the binaries for that. So now we are done editing the zshrc file, and so go ahead and save that, and then we'll just call source.zshrc. Okay, and now if you're on Python, you'll see it's Python 3.10.6. So I'm going to repeat the same process with Python 2 actually now. So pyenv install, And then the last version of Python 2 is 2.7.18. Okay. So go ahead and let that install. Alright, now that that's installed, we're going to need to repeat the same process of adding Python 2 to path that we did with Python 3. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it and paste it here. I like to keep it nice and spaced out. Alright, and then we're going to need to run source again, .shrc file, and from there we can just run Python 2, and you'll see it opens up Python 2.7.18. Alright, and next up we'll just double check that everything did work successfully just by closing all our terminals and reopening. Just double check that when we run Python 3 it does in fact use the version that we installed, and there we go. And same with Python 2, there we go. Alright, everything's installed fine. Thanks for watching.